Welcome to the end of day review for Wednesday, the 27th of March 2024. Starting off with the economic calendar, there was one red folder news event, well, at least a medium impact news event that I consider red folder, given that it's CPI. So for EURUSD, we had positive CPI for the Spanish market, which has an influence on the EURUSD. And for that reason, trading longs made sense on EURUSD. In terms of the other pairs, there wasn't really any impact on the economic calendar on our trading. So moving from the economic calendar onto our chart, starting off with GBPUSD. From a daily perspective, there wasn't any consecutive bullish or bearish candles to draw a daily bias from. So thus we move on to the 4-hour. Understanding the technical analysis here gives us our higher time frame narrative. So the most recent change was a change of character, and that means that we're operating under an uncertain scenario. Currently there's two legs that we're operating from, one being the pro-trend unconfirmed leg and the other being the pro-trend previously confirmed leg. We currently interacted with two 4HOBs, one being the pro-trend unconfirmed legs 4HOB and the other being the pro-trend previously confirmed primary leg OB, which is that right there. So at the moment we have reasons to trade both longs and shorts. The interaction with the pro-trend unconfirmed OB's target is to take out this substructure lower high right there, and then obviously the interaction with this primary OB is to take out the substructure low right there. So for that reason we have reasons to trade both directions. And then if we move on to the 5-minute, what we could understand here was the fact that like I said, higher time frame narrative wise, we have reasons to trade both directions, and the only way to trade them would be to have a Frankfurt low of the day or high of the day validated. As you can see, that never really materialized. We had London high of the day and then a New York low of the day, and at which point, because we have no red folder news events for GBPUSD, we are unable to validate the New York low of the day in order to then consider trading longs. So for that reason there was no trading opportunities on GBPUSD. Then if we move on to EURUSD, so again, starting from a daily perspective, there isn't any consecutive bullish or bearish candles from a daily perspective, at least not for yesterday. Well, at least not for the 27th. So from that perspective, again, we rely on the 4H technical analysis for the higher time frame narrative. Similar to GBPUSD, we have a change of character to the downside. Well, not similar in the sense that GBPUSD is, I think, in the opposite direction to this. So for EURUSD, there's reasons, well, we created a lower low. This is then creating a potential unconfirmed lower high, and on the assumption that this will be the break of the structure, we're anticipating that we'll make a bearish confirmed market trend, but that's is yet to be confirmed. Until we don't have the break of structure, we are operating in under an unconfirmed scenario, and that is what I meant by we similar to GBPUSD in the sense that we in an unconfirmed state. EURUSD is a little more complicated, as I mentioned, in a couple of EODs. So we've got the pro-trend unconfirmed leg, we then have the primary previously confirmed OB, primary previously confirmed leg, we then have the pro-trend unconfirmed primary leg that was created as a result of the reaction to the pro-trend unconfirmed leg. In addition to that, we have the unconfirmed lower high that has formed, and this was then validated by demand taking control, and as you can see, you have a change of character right here. We then have a slight pullback and then a break of structure right here, which validated that demand is in control, validating the secondary leg with the objective of targeting the unconfirmed lower high. So that's essentially why I've been saying that EURUSD is a bit more complicated. What does this mean for our trading for the day? It essentially means that we have reasons to only long, and we needed backing by a secondary unconfirmed lower high OB to then support moving to the upside. However, at the start of the day we were roughly we were in and around this area, and as you can see, the interaction of the proton unconfirmed primary OP achieved its objective of taking out this lower low, and thus in order to find any trade we needed new 4H backing, and that only occurred quite late in the day, probably sometime today. Yes, probably sometime today, the 28th of March. So for that reason, there wasn't really any reason to trade Euro USD, and because there's no backing, there isn't really much point in going into the 5 minute. However, what we can see is the positive CPI news led to a push to the upside, but that was short-lived, and we eventually pushed to the downside. So that's Euro USD in a nutshell, and then moving on to USDCAD. So USDCAD, as I've been saying is the simplest to interpret from a high time frame narrative perspective, and that's purely because, well, from a daily, again, no consecutive bullish or bearish candles yesterday. Ignore this candle because it relates to the 28th. So as you can see, starting off yesterday, we would have had a bearish candle and a second bearish candle, and we were yet to have a third bearish candle. So from that perspective, for the current day, we don't have any consecutive bullish or bearish candles to indicate a daily bias, and then again we rely on the 4H narrative to understand which direction to trade in. Similarly, we in a confirmed bearish market, we have interacted with the proton extreme multiple times, with the latest interaction resulting in the failure of the pullback last point of supply and creating the proton primary leg. From that perspective, we only have reason to trade to the short side, and thus we move on to the 5 minute, with our narrative being that shorts only, no news to validate any New York high of the day based trade ideas or Asia high of the days, and the only real option we had was a Frankfurt high of the day, which again didn't materialize, and that didn't result in any entries for USDCAD. So that's pretty much the end of day review for the three pairs. I hope you had a good trading day, and we'll chat again for the London outlook for the 28th of March.